everyone. It's been such a long time since I did a video. I have been so occupied with the academic work since I have a full-time job, and also uh, certain unexpected turn of events also happened. So I could not stay consistent in posting videos on YouTube. So, to start again, I'm here with a very entertaining poem, The Sun Rising by John Donne. This is not prescribed in Kerala University syllabus, I suppose, and but it's not always about learning literary works that are prescribed in the syllabus just from an exam point of view, but it's also about exploring literature as literature students. So I'm here with the poem The Sun Rising by John Donne. Now, this is a picture that kind of summarizes the whole poem, The Sun Rising. Okay, so in this picture, you can see that there is a couple and they are sleeping under a blanket and they are awakened as dawn appears. So the sun shows up and the guy lover gets so irritated that he starts scolding the sun, and therefore the sun is in utter shock. Okay, so this is a picture that I want all of you to keep in your mind as we go through line by line of each stanzas of this poem. So there are 3 stanzas to this poem and each stanza has 10 lines. Now, as I always say to my students, that before you study any poem or any literary work, it's important that you understand the life and career of the writer that has written that particular piece of literature, and also to the age or the historical period in which that writer was born. So John Donne, he was born in England, and England initially was a Catholic country, as you all know. Later Protestant Reformation started by people like Martin Luther, and in 1530s Henry VIII, because he required an annulment to marry Anne Boleyn so that he could have a male heir. Now, to have a male heir was his desperate need, and the Catholic Church did not provide him the annulment. So for that reason, he broke away with the Catholic Church and established the Church of England, where the monarch will be the supreme authority of the church. And that's how the Protestant Church of England came up. Now, this was a time when Catholics were persecuted. They were fined, imprisoned, and executed if they were seen to be practicing their Catholic faith. This was the age into which John Donne was born. And even in John Donne's family, his brother Henry, when he tried to harbor a Catholic priest, he was executed in the prison. Now, John Donne, he attended the University of Oxford and University of Cambridge, but did not receive a degree certificate because he refused to take the oath of supremacy that declared that the monarch is the head of the church. Because of his strong Catholic faith, he could not take the oath of supremacy. Now, because of the financial instability in his household, because of all the hardships that he was facing, he traveled to Europe, studied law at Lincoln's Inn, and later had the opportunity to be appointed as the private secretary to Thomas Egerton, where he drafted documents and handled all the legal and administrative tasks of the English court. Now, all the work that was done was in close association with Sir Thomas in his household. So that's where John Donne meets Anne More, who is the niece of Thomas Egerton. They both fall in love with each other, but the families are in high disregard towards this relationship. So they start having secret meetings, which eventually leads into a secret marriage that is discovered later by Anne More's father, Sir George More, who highly disapproves this marriage. And he dismisses John Donne from the position of private secretary for Sir Thomas Egerton. Now, John Donne, he is plunged into poverty and he has almost 12 children with Anne More. So because of better career opportunities that he can pursue, he decides to convert from Catholicism to Anglicanism, and he becomes an Anglican priest and is appointed as the Dean of St. Paul's Cathedral. Later, with the favors of King James I, he has some financial stability in life, and moving fast forward, because of a variety of illnesses, he passes away. Okay, so this is the life and career, the historical background to which John Donne was born into. And this poem is a reflection of John Donne's secret meeting with Anne More. So let's go line by line. This is one of my favorite poems. Stanza 1. Each stanza has 10 lines, and you can comment down the rhyme scheme of this poem. Busy old fool, unruly sun, why dost thou thus through windows and through curtains call on us? This is a shock tactic that has been used by the author. Sun, who is considered to be the central power that governs the bodies of the universe, is treated in such a humiliating manner. He's called as busy because he keeps rotating around the world, and old since its existence for ages. The sun is being called as busy, old, fool, unruly sun, disobedient sun. Why is it called disobedient? Why do you do so? Why do you peep through our windows? Why does your rays intrude my sweet sleeping time with my lover through the curtains? Why do you call on us? Why are you waking up? Must to thy motions lovers' seasons run? Is it that we lovers should do things according to your motions, according to your instructions? Just because you showed up at the window? It is dawn time, so we should wake up and depart? Is that what you want? Saucy, pedantic wretch. You who pokes your nose in others' business, who intervenes in others' issues. You who are so showy because you have been existing for ages. You think that you are some wise person. You're nothing but a wretch. Go chide, go scold. Late school boys and sour apprentices. Go scold the boys who are late for school. Go show up at their windows and peep through their curtains. And wake up sour apprentices. Sour apprentices. Apprentices is basically, it is cut short for the word apprentices. It's basically an artistic choice of John Donne. Even the title of this poem, The Sun Rising, you might have noted the spelling. S-U-N-N-E is used over here. So it could be said as an artistic and aesthetic choice, but also at the time when John Donne was writing, the English spelling was not standardized. So there are a wide variations for the spelling of sun. So this is one variation that you can see. And he's saying that go scold the apprentices. Now we have internships before you get into an actual job. Similarly, even early times, they used to get training under a master. And once the master approves of them, then they could begin the actual work. So he's saying that there are so many sour apprentices. There's so many people who go for training for actual work. Go wake them up. They're so sour in the morning. They're so reluctant to wake up in the morning and go for work. So why don't you go wake them up? Go tell court huntsmen that the king will ride. Why don't you wake up the courtsmen, the men of the king, that the king would like to go for hunting? Why don't you go and tell them the same thing? Call country ants to harvest offices. Why don't you wake up the farmers that it is dawn time, wake up early and gather some good harvest, gather some good produce? Why don't you go wake them up? Love all alike, no season knows, nor clime, nor hours, days, months, which are time. So love is something that seasons cannot understand, that climates cannot understand, or it is not something similar to seasons or climate. It is not something similar to time. It is far more of such a high regard. It is put at a very high pedestal. So see, usually if you take sun, which is considered to be of a great power, and if you take time, we praise about time. We regard time with high reverence. But here you can see how the poet is diminishing the value of the sun and time. It's sort of like a very paradoxical and ironical statement that is being mentioned by the poet. Can you think of which poetic device is being used over here? Sun and time, that is considered to be of a very high regard. We always say time and tide waits for none. We should stick to time. Time will never wait for you. Okay, so you need to be consistent in work. We often say, that, or we often speak of time and sun with a great regard. We do Surya Namaskaras. And now over here you're seeing that the poet has diminished the value of time and sun. Comment down below which is the poetic device that is used over here. Anything that is considered of high quality or anything that is considered of high regard, when it is being diminished into something worthless, what is that poetic device called? I can give you an opposite of it. When something is exaggerated and something is shown off to be of a great regard, that poetic device is called as hyperbole. Similarly, what is the opposite of hyperbole? You can comment down that below. Okay. Now, stanza 2. Thy beams, so reverend and strong, why shouldest thou think? Your beams, your rays, maybe people consider it to be very strong, very respectful. What do you think of yourself? That is the second line in the stanza. Why shouldest thou think? What do you think of yourself? I could eclipse and cloud them with a wink. I can just shut down your brightness just by closing my one eye. That is what is being said over here. I could eclipse. I could create darkness. I could cloud. I could cover your brightness with just a wink. But that I would not lose her sight so long. But I'm not going to wink. I'm not even going to, like, a wink is just for a fraction of seconds. I'm not going to close my one eye even for a fraction of a second because I don't want to lose sight of my beloved. I can't stop looking at her. So please don't bother me. You're kind of intruding my time in looking after my lover, in making love with her. You are disturbing me. That's what the poet is saying to the magnificent authority of the universe, the sun. Do you see the complex imagery that is being used over here? If her eyes have not blinded thine. And he says that, have you seen my beloved's eyes? They are so bright. They're like those sparkling eyes, just like the sparkling gems. And the brightness of her eye can actually shut down your brightness. So it's better that you leave off from my window. Better take leave, because if you see her eyes, your brightness would be nothing. Look at the way how it is being compared. That imagery usage, it's a very complex way of using the imagery. Look And tomorrow late, tell me whether both the Indias of spice and mine be where thou leftest them, or lie here with me. You go do your job as you usually do. Go around the world, look at everything, and then come back and tell me if the two Indias. Here, India of spices is basically our India, and the India of mine, here the reference is to West Indies. Look at again the use of imagery there. Two Indias of spices in mine. You go check out if those two Indias, which are very famous for the exotic spices, and mine, which are expensive materials actually. So go check out if those exotic, expensive resources, do they lie in those Indias, or come back and tell me, are they the ones that are lying with me? Are they the ones that are lying with the one that lies beside me? So he's saying that all the Indias, that exotic beauty, that expensive beauty, is my lover, not the two Indias of spices and mine. That's the complex imagery comparison that you can witness over here. Are for those kings whom thou sawest, ask for those kings whom thou sawest yesterday, and thou shalt hear, all here in one bed lay. And he's saying that, see, the imagery that is being used over here is that the Indias of spice and mine is being symbolized to the beloved and the kings of all the world. He says that that is also lying in the same bed, and that reference is to the poet himself, or to the speaker of this poem. Do you understand? So that kind of complex imagery is being used. And you can also see that this is a part of the metaphysical conceit, that extended and elaborate metaphor that is being used over here. Shiding the sun, considering time as something worthless, without value. That's all like metaphysical conceits that are being used. Let's move on to the next, the next stanza. Okay. Stanza 3. She's all states and all princes I. He's saying that he is all the princes of the world, and she is all the states that he governs. So he is the ruler and she is the whole universe. That is the meaning of this poem. Nothing else is. Love transcends time and space. Love is more important than time. Love is considered to be the supreme authority. Love is considered to be of a great regard than anything in this world. That is the theme of this particular poem. You can see that the universe and all the elements, all the major elements of the universe like time, sun, everything has been diminished. Their values are being diminished here. They're being humiliated. They're considered as worthless. And love, that space of those two lovers, is considered of high regard. That's the whole idea of this poem. Love is considered to be supreme than time and space. Princes do but play us compared to this. All honors mimic, all wealth alchemy. He says that even if there are princes who rule the universe, but all their honor, if you take, it's nothing but mimic. It's just an imitation. There is nothing true in it, but our love is true. All wealth alchemy. Now see, alchemy was a branch of chemistry in Middle Ages. And alchemists were considered to turn any base metal into gold. It could be anything. If it's a silver, they could convert it into gold. And he's saying that that's all worthless. See, gold is considered to be worthless. Again, a complex imagery use. The metaphors that are being used over here are also far-fetched ones. Far-fetched conceits are being used over here. And there are so much of paradoxes, so much of ironies that are running throughout this poem. And you can see that this whole poem is written in a conversational tone where the speaker is directly addressing all these magnificent, bigger entities of the universe like sun, time, the princess, the kings, and everything has been directly addressed. So he has used a very conversational tone in it. And the themes that are running are also very philosophical and intellectual themes. Like how love transcends time and space, it's a very philosophical and intellectual theme. So in a similar way, you can observe, he's saying that thou sun, you sun, art half as happy as we. And he's saying, hey, you sun, you're not half as happy as we lovers are. You are that entity who is depressed, who's driving up the wall to that point of mad desperation. But we are very happy. You're not half happy as us. In that the world's contracted thus. He says that the world is not this big universe that you see. The world is created by both of us, by these two lovers. That microcosm is being compared to that macrocosm of the universe. And he says that thine age ask ease. You're very old. It's better you take some rest. And since thy duties be to warm the world, that's done in warming us. Now you are an old entity, all right. Sun, you are very old and it's time that you take some rest. So you don't have to move around and give warmth and light and shine to the whole world. But instead, you take some rest. Come at my window and warm us. Give us that warmth through your light. It's like giving warmth to the whole universe. Shine here to us. Shine at us. And thou art everywhere. You shine at us and you're everywhere. This bed thy center is. And these walls thy sphere. This bed will be your center. And here sphere means the orbit. So here you can see that the cosmology that has been used is that of Ptolemy's theory that Earth was the center and sun was revolving around the earth. That is the concept that has been brought over here. Okay, so it says that you can revolve around us. You don't have to revolve around the whole universe and give them light and shine and all the brightness. But if you shine on us, it's like giving light to everyone. That's how this poem has been written. It's such an interesting poem. A very entertaining, mind-pinning poem, I would say. I really love this poem, and you can see all the metaphysical features because John Donne, he was a leading figure of the school of metaphysical poetry, where he used metaphysical conceits, paradoxes and ironies, conversational tool was used, complex imagery was used, and the themes were often very philosophical and intellectual. Okay. So that's all that I wanted to share with you today. So I hope you like this poem and do hit a like, and I love to read your comments. Do tell me if you like this poem or if this was like first time that you were hearing this poem, and if you liked it, do let me know about it. Okay, thank you and have a great day.